Starting to rain, and I didn't even begin the trail, so it's gonna be an interesting day. The purpose of today's vlog is to photograph majestic trees, imposing trees, big old trees with big old roots, things that look really interesting. Hope this rain will not make the plans impossible. I'm in the forest from the National Park Chachlo. This is a national park that's really important for me, at least. It's really close to where I live. It's a place where I've learned a lot of photography techniques. I did a lot of workshops in this area. So it's a place where I always return with a great pleasure, and it never disappoints. I'll always find something interesting to photograph. So we're on one of its trails. I don't know how much up we're gonna go, but the purpose is to find interesting trees and interesting trails, because the forest down here looks really great. There are not only pine trees. The pine trees are not that interesting to photograph, in my opinion, at least from inside the forest, because they have all those small details. The pine needles and the bark of the tree has all those small elements that don't look that interesting. Hope the rest of the forest will offer us some interesting compositions. I found an interesting place. It doesn't have yet those majestic trees, but I saw a creek in the forest, a small spring of water, and it looks so great. It makes those kind of turns, and the forest is really black, it's really dark. This will make the river look even brighter, and it's down there in that blackness, if you want, but believe me, it's gonna look incredible. Now over there, I think I see the first impressive trees that are next to the water. But right now I really like how the light enters this place. You have a really big place where the light shines, and then you have this wonderful stream of water that goes up to that place, connecting the darkness of the forest to that area of light. Because the water is really kicking and really coming with force to the valley, I will try to capture exactly that. So whenever you're photographing water, you tend to do really long exposures and make the water silky, but I will try to find a balance between the exposure and the capturing of the movement of the water. So I want you to experience the water coming down with such a big force. It's a really good thing that the water is not muddy. Usually when it's raining that heavy, the water becomes kind of muddy, but today I'm really lucky. The water is clear, and I'm just hoping that I'll be able to capture that feeling of water rushing in from up the mountain into the valley. This is not an easy composition, mainly because if you stay really low, you lose perspective on the entire forest. So you need to have a balance. Also, if I try to do this in landscape mode, on a horizontal composition, also I'm losing perspective. I'm losing depth in the photo. So I will do the photo in portrait mode. This would be my choice, and I hope it's a good one. Two types of shots over here. The first one, I wanted to capture that that rush of the water. So for that, I also had to have an aperture of 6.3 at least in order to have kind of like a big depth of field. The best depth of field would have been at f11, but the light is really low over here, so I had to go at 6.3. Then the exposure time, I went for 13th of a second, and that is not a too short exposure to freeze the water, but not a long exposure to make it silky smooth. The other problem I had was to use the ISO to compensate for the lack of light, so I had to go up to 1200 ISO, and that is the compromise that you need to make if you want to capture something like this. Now, after that, I also tried a classical shot, a shot of ISO 100, f11, and probably 3-second exposure. But after that shot, something clicked to me. Because the water stream is so interesting and so beautiful, maybe I can do a photo that looks like an impressionist painting. So I set the camera to 1-second exposure and I move it, and you kind of have the feeling, you understand what is happening, you realize that the forest is the tree, there's some trees over there, there is a stream of water, but it looks, in my opinion at least, that's only my own preferences, it looks really, really good. I don't know if it's visible, but it rains so hard outside the forest. Lucky for me, I'm down here protected by these trees. There are also thunders, so I'm not happy with this situation. I'm not happy at all, because probably I will have to stop. But for the moment, I'll just wait for the rain to stop, and I'll simply go over here in the area and try to find an interesting tree to photograph. The birds are starting to sing, and that is always a good sign when there is rain. So I'll wait for another 10 or 15 minutes tops. If the rain doesn't stop, I will go. But 10 to 15 minutes, the birds are singing, my friends. I'm so wet, so wet. Everything is wet. My hands are dirty, are wet. My camera is wet. All my gear is wet. It's an unbelievably messy rain. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I can't fight it. Can't fight it either. I keep trying to push myself one more step. It's a difficult decision to stay in the rain outside and keep on photographing. It's not easy. Not easy at all. Hey! 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 In the end, I made it to the area where these impressive trees are growing. I'm so glad I stick to it. I didn't left the forest, even though the rain is still raining outside. but it's not raining that bad, and the forest protects me. It's like I'm having my own protector in the nature. So I will still go on and take some more photos. I also did a panorama with this trail that goes into the distance. I think it really looks beautiful. But this is gonna be the last shot of this vlog. It's really impressive how the tree has fallen, the darkness from over here, the light over there. So hope you like the vlog, hope you find this interesting. Share it with your friends, subscribe if you're here for the first time, continue photographing, go out there in nature, enjoy yourself. Bye bye.